We're going cold.
We're going cold. Good morning. Welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host, Marlon, aka Mayhem. There we go. My Dallas Cowboy mug. AKA Mayhem, aka Mr. B rating. Now I'm no longer disruptive of Mr. B rating.
I'm proud of you.
My partner in crime in the command module seat, JD, aka JD.
Greetings.
JD's laughing, folks, because we come on to our podcast and I'm just shaking my head. What else can you do? What else can you do, man? I gave a shout out, and I'll give a shout out now, this morning to all who committed and followed through on Tweet Out Tuesday.
That's right.
I asked if I missed anything, and then I followed up with the verse, "Reindicted, and it feels so good." Shout out to Peaches and Herb.
So what did you miss? Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, it was a big day. I'm sure people had to tweet.
I don't know.
Did people who were tweeting off feel compelled to tweet with the announcement?
It doesn't look like it.
Well, I'm impressed. I would think that would be a compelling reason to rush online.
It does. Well, there was a lot of activity on Spoutable, obviously. You know, I need to walk something back that I said. That's how I want to start today's show. I need to walk something back. Something I said yesterday, and I contemplated saying it, and I need to walk it back.
Okay.
If you are out there and you are a supporter of the 3-time indicted criminal, you don't necessarily have a IQ equal to the box of crayons. I take that back. You are, however, a racist piece of shit. So there's a difference between those two.
All right. So it's going to be tough for us to have a third rail conversation because I'm in complete agreement with you.
Well, we'll get to a third rail. I just wanted to, I thought about after I said that last night, and I'm like, you know, there are some who could probably pass an exam, right? For whatever reason.
Well, there's intellect to run a network, to run for office, to hold down a job, to drive a car, pump their gas, some of their bills, to put their kids through. I mean, so they have intellect to do that.
Which would indicate they have intellect, not common sense, but intellect. So I need to walk that back, but you are, without question, if you are supporting him, and to the Black people and my nemesis out there knows who they are, yes, you are a step and fetch it houseboy. And I'm using the term houseboy because I don't use
this card and then you pick up. Okay.
Because I don't use the N word. So you are a God.
Well, I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with that assessment because I think it leads us to a better place. And when I say a better place, I mean reconciling, understanding, dealing with the imminent threat of the MAGAs. As long as you look down on them because they're stupid, we don't appreciate just how dangerous they are.
Oh, I appreciate
looking down on them because they're racist. I don't like the calculation they're making. I'm not impressed by the calculation that they're making.
It's a stupid calculation.
I think it's stupid. So I'm actually more afraid of them when I know that they could turn a key in a lock or climb a ladder or, you know, shoot a gun. I mean, stuff like that.
They might not necessarily be stupid, but they're making a stupid calculation. I can guarantee you that.
Well, you know what? If they're right, okay. If you're a maggot and you're right, then the calculation will benefit you.
They're not right.
Well, we haven't.
They're not. They're
wrong.
Let me help you. They're not right. And this is what
they're not right. They're not right philosophically, but
they're not right in any form, shape, or fashion.
They could be right in the real world. Let me give you.
No. Stop right there. Stop right there. No, they are not right. And let me tell you what
they could be right. I'm not saying they're right now.
No. Listen to me carefully. And everybody, all three of you out there listening to this show, listen to me carefully, because this is what has me angered the most right now. We are in 2023, so 3 fucking years removed, and there is not a single shred of evidence that has been brought forth to indicate the 2020 election was stolen.
Agreed, but that's not the right and wrong I'm talking about.
That's the only one that matters, because that's what.
No, I'm talking about other right and wrong. For instance, if I'm a beer distributor for a county and I can spend a finite amount of money, I'm going to gamble that I should not buy Bud Light and put it in inventory. And I will probably be rewarded in a lot of different parts of the country. So it would be right to do the wrong thing, because it will be empirically rewarding. This is what I'm talking about. That being right and wrong is a practical matter as well as a philosophical or moral issue.
I don't care about any of that. I'm in reality. I'm in reality. And in reality,
I just described reality, and in reality, they're right about things. They're getting better opportunities for housing by discriminating. They have finally eliminated abortion through the Supreme Court. So they were right about that.
They weren't right about it.
Yeah, they voted for Trump because
no, that's not no.
That was a good calculus. They made a good decision. They got what they wanted.
No. I refuse to accept that. No, they're not right about it, JD.
Something for it to be true.
They're not right about it, JD. They
were empirically right about electing Trump to get rid of abortion. 50 years they couldn't get rid of it. They elected Trump, they got rid of abortion.
They manipulated the system. That's beside
the point. They put the master manipulator in there to manipulate the system.
That doesn't make them right.
And then they
eliminating abortion.
They made the right calculation. By squishing Merrick Garland. In other words, they've made a whole series of properly calculated decisions to get what they want.
It doesn't make that right. It doesn't make it right. They manipulated the system.
Right empirically. Have you ever heard the expression "Mike makes right"?
They are right about nothing. They are manipulating. They are manipulating the system. They are manipulating representatives.
Yes, and that's the right thing to do to get the result you want.
That doesn't make it right.
We're mutually agreed. They're
the right thing to do.
Okay, the right correct, not the right thing.
The right thing.
They're not doing the right thing, but they're doing the right things. They're doing the correct things to get what they want.
No, they are not. No, they are not. The right thing to do is to respect the rights of women, and abortion is
thing to do, but they're not necessarily obligated to do it. They will respect their own women to a point, but they're not going to respect.
No, they're not even respecting their own women.
Because the respect construct is fundamentally different, particularly in the conservative church. A lot of what goes into making a man and a woman inside of the church doctrine is fundamentally different than what
that's cool.
What's interesting is some of those roles actually are more fluid and work better than what we're trying to architect with binary gender things and women being on an equal footing. It creates complications.
MAGA
a lot of conservative Christians are making decisions, and they're the right decisions because they're producing decent results.
No, they are not.
For them, they are. Their women are subservient.
For them, but they're in a cult. I'm talking about the rest of us.
Decision they have to make about the stuff that's within arm's length.
I'm talking about broad America, not cults.
We're in agreed. I think they're doing a lot of things that are philosophically and morally wrong, but they're not technically wrong. They're not empirically.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And that's the conversation we need to start having. They're wrong. They're wrong about everything.
We've already started that conversation. We're mutually agreed. They're wrong about everything.
Thank you. So I don't want to hear that term, they're doing the right thing. They're not doing the right thing.
Well, let's do Giuliani, for example.
Oh, God.
So Giuliani, why am I picking Giuliani? Because he was on the cover of one of the publications. He was the Time Man of the Year. So I'm picking somebody who at one point was well regarded.
Yes. Right after 9/11.
Right. And now
he's an idiot.
He's
an idiot. He sold his soul, and he's an idiot.
And why did he sell his soul? Here was the calculus. He believed that if he helped Trump, that he would be named Attorney General.
Yes.
That's why he did it. So his calculus.
Is he Attorney General?
No, I'm just saying that the calculus is transparent. You can see it. He put his personal interest in front of every other thing, and he had some calculus, and he made some calculations, and he made some decisions. And in his case, they didn't turn out well. But in a lot of cases.
Didn't turn out well. He's going to be named as a co-conspirator.
Mutually agreed. But what I'm saying is that he's a sentient human being of reasonable intellect with a good education who made a series of calculated decisions.
He used to be that. He used to be that.
He did the wrong thing.
Once you enter the...
But if he had been right, he would now be Attorney General, and Trump would be in his...
If an elephant had wings...
Trump would be in his second term, and he would be arranging it to...
If an elephant had wings and an elephant could fly, we can play these if games all day long. Once you
enter... But they were playing. That was what governed their behavior. They're like, if I do this, then this could happen. So that's what I'm saying. They predicated their decisions and their behavior on a calculation, and the calculation didn't work.
It was wrong.
But in a lot of cases, it is working.
Oh my God, man. Bottom line, it was wrong. It was a wrong calculation. And all the attributes you gave Giuliani, those fucking end the day you enter the cult. So he might have been well educated. He might have been all those things that you say. But the second you enter that cult, all of that becomes meaningless because he is no longer any of those things.
Well, not within the cult. He was beloved within the cult.
Well, then he can beloved his ass into court as a co-conspirator.
I mean, I don't, how much pussy do you think Giuliani got because he was aligned with the president?
I'm
going to say a lot.
I don't care. I don't care.
But it was a calculation. He's like, I could be a nobody, or I could be aligned with Trump, who's the current president.
Well, now he's going to be aligned.
And then he was jetting all around the world, and he was
he's in line.
What he wanted, and he was probably having a good time.
Now he is disbarred and aligned as a co-conspirator in an indictment. So I hope the pussy was worth it.
Of the calculus that individuals make.
I hope the pussy was worth it. Because you have now been disbarred. You are completely disrespected and hated in a town and city that revered you behind 9/11. And you are now an unnamed, as of right now, co-conspirator in that indictment.
So he went from
To be named.
rock star to criminal defendant.
And do you know why that happened?
Because he hung out with Trump.
Where is it?
He's in the cult. But
let me show you.
Because he's stupid.
This is why that happened right here. Right there. Rick Wilson.
Everything Trump touches dies. All right.
That's
let's vote for me because
that's it. He ain't touching me either.
No sirree, Bob.
Now, there is a new movement afoot on Twitter already. And I'm in line with, as you know, I tried to get one of my Twitter besties to come on to our podcast, but scheduling just didn't allow for her. I sent her another direct message this morning. It's only I just do not.
Have you had a viewer yet? And you're gonna be like, not yet. And she's gonna like,
no, we've had viewers. I make it a point not to DM on Twitter because I know women are subjected to ignorant, low-life men DMing them all the time, dick pics and all that kind of stuff. So usually if I DM somebody, in a rare instance where I DM somebody, I let them know, hey, this is rare, but I didn't want it out in the sphere.
How do you DM somebody? Can you DM somebody you're not following?
I think you can.
Oh, that is terrifying. Anybody can send anybody a message at any time?
Yeah, for any reason. But I said, hey, look, I just didn't want to put this out in the sphere because she did herself last week. She got a new haircut, and I think the haircut is beautiful. In fact, she changed her profile picture. And I said, I just had the right to tell you that. Outside of that, I'm 100% in alignment with you. Yes, this trial needs to be televised. This needs to touch every American home, whether they're in the bubble, the cult, or not. We all need to see it.
Okay, I don't recall. Were the Watergates televised? No.
Yes, the hearings. Yes, yes.
Well, then these will be.
Well, the right is trying to block it because they know what America will see. They know exactly what we will see. Confirmation of what we already know.
I think it'd be magically beautiful.
You and I did a podcast weeks ago, and I got animated, and we were in agreement.
I don't recall you ever getting animated.
We were in agreement, so state that right up front.
That's true. We're always in agreement.
Where I was screaming on the podcast, we already know what he has done. We know this. We saw it.
And we're mutually agreed. And MAGA knows as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But this is the hill they're choosing to die on. And so,
I like that. See, that's exactly the point that I'm making. They are choosing to die on this hill.
For houseboys like Theo Terrell, who and Dinesh Souza, whatever that, who are saying, Trump, I talked to Trump. I know that the election was stolen. They are dying on that hill. And I'm so angered because we are 3 years removed and you haven't bought a single shred of evidence of that. But MAGA stick a microphone. Oh, this is like Hillary's email server. Oh yeah, the election was stolen. Wait till all the facts come out.
We're waiting.
We've been waiting for 3 years.
Well, the facts are going to come out.
And there hasn't been a single
The facts are going to come out that Trump and crew tried to steal the election.
Yes, because there hasn't been a single court in America that has brought forth a shred of evidence to support that claim in 3 years. Not one.
Evidence-based is fine for textbooks and classrooms and certain situations, but that's not what's going on here.
No, it isn't. Because they're in an alternate universe. They live in an alternate universe. Which is why Marlon's
Actually,
campaign,
because I'm a card-carrying member of the white race.
Marlon's campaign is to round them all up and send them out to sea and never be heard or seen from again, because we cannot reach them. They live in an alternate universe.
I come from the one true universe. And every time somebody tries to alter my universe, it is probably, I'm going to consider it a diminishment. Now, when I say probably consider diminishment, to be perfectly clear, I know in my mind that I'm wrong.
About?
But emotionally, I would like things to just stay the way they are.
Are you talking about MAGA? That's their feeling?
No, I'm talking about, there are a lot of accommodations that I'm not inclined to make and I wouldn't volunteer for. If somebody comes to me and they say, you know, if you reflect on this, you'll see what you should do. And I would be like, yes, I see what I should do. I don't want unlimited people coming to my pool, as an example.
Right.
I like having a finite number. I don't want affordable housing next door. I could probably tolerate it half a mile away. So that's what I'm talking about. There are a lot of things about people who have enjoyed all of the benefits over the past 50 years, and they're not really in a rush to change it. They don't really want to see it change. Now, what I do believe, and I actually believe this in my core, is I do believe in the independence of individuals, and I do think it's wrong to actually go out and alter the arc of another person's life. So I'm very comfortable with the idea that the law should apply equally. I'm very comfortable. When I say comfortable, it's not.
How can you make the claim that you're comfortable?
0 or 1. In other words, there are things that are 0 or 1. They're just right.
How can you be comfortable with the law should have? How can you even make that statement that the law should apply equally, yet you don't want affordable housing next door to you?
They're two different things.
No, they're not.
They're two different things. And
No,
I don't
they're
feel
not.
guilty about saying I don't want. In
No,
other
they're
words,
not.
I have no
They're
guilt
not.
saying that.
They are
It
not.
doesn't make me
They
feel
are
bad.
not two different things.
And you know what? If I needed affordable housing, I would consider myself.
I need you to understand they're not two different things.
They're two different things.
No, they're not.
They're two different things. Okay, let's clarify. What are we talking about here?
You just said
You're conflating something with something else that I think.
No, I am not.
No,
You just
take it
said
from the top. Take it. Help me understand.
You just said I am comfortable with the law applying equally to everyone.
Correct.
If the law applies equally to everyone, then I should have the right to live wherever the fuck I want to live.
That's a true statement. I'm not going to argue that. You're welcome to live.
You just argued it. You just argued it.
$2 million house over here or a $1.7 million house. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. In the council, in the city council, that's where you would have a local vote here in our town. Here in our town, somebody would have to vote at the council level to build affordable housing. And I can tell you for a fact that we have absolutely super duper ridiculously expensive housing coming in. We have all these condos and high rises, and individual condos are $1 million. So they're not making any decisions to bring in affordable housing. But there's affordable housing about a half mile away. Although it appears that they're starting to turn off all the leases so that people are forced out.
You're avoiding, you are avoiding the contradiction.
I'm not saying, I'm saying that I am part of the establishment that is happy with the things the way they are. I have a house.
Then you can't be
nice neighborhood. I don't want to go to somebody else's neighborhood.
Then
but if somebody else wanted to come here and build affordable housing, my council, we would vote on a bond referendum or something like that. And I can tell you that this area, we would not vote in.
Then you cannot make the claim that you are supportive of equal law for all.
No, I'm following the law. I'm following the law. we're the majority right now. So white people are the
All right,
majority.
let's move on for this. You're wrong. I love you. You're wrong. You can't be equal law for everyone.
About the empirical reality about calculations that are made by people who are in positions of power and already have some leverage. My kind will have less leverage 50 years from now than it does now. But right now,
less than
we
50.
still have enough leverage, and we're
lot
still
less
in the
than
majority.
50.
What's that?
A lot less than 50.
It's a crapshoot. I don't know. I'll be dead, so.
You can't, it's a contradiction. And let's just
being
leave it at that.
transparent, being honest, and articulating these
I
things.
appreciate that, but that's a contradiction. You can't claim that you're for equal law for all if you are restrictive at
If the council voted to put affordable housing next door, I would accept it. So that means I would accept the law. But I'm telling you, the law is not going to change in the foreseeable future because we're still in the majority in this town. But
which
if
doesn't make
the
it right.
council decides 20 years from now that we need affordable housing next door, I'm not going to fight that. I would be like, oh, well, I may need affordable housing by then anyway. I'll be like, whew, thank God they're putting affordable housing next door. I can just move my stuff over there.
You can't be against affordable housing for people and say that you are for equal law for everyone.
I just described exactly how I could be in both places. If the law specified that this was to occur, I would be like, okay. But the law is not going to do that because right now
that's a separate discussion. I'm talking about
part and parcel of the same damn thing.
I'm talking about being supportive
Marlon,
of two different things.
Do you want affordable housing on the lot next door to you? Do you want that?
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Because as long
right and wrong, you would have to say yes.
As long on
the lot next to me so that affordable housing is available to humanity.
As long as two things. One, as long as it doesn't affect or impact the Taylor household, I don't give a shit who's next door.
But it will. Your property value is going to go down.
My property values are not going. No, my property value.
More density with vehicles.
No. That's all Fox News talking points, JD, and I don't want to go down.
No,
it is.
No, that's real life.
You know why?
That is real life.
I have affordable. No, it is not. That's Fox News talking points. I have affordable housing tenants in my neighborhood right now. And my property values
are in those houses.
My property values have done nothing but go up.
I understand, but you're talking about affordable housing in a house that's like yours. The basic premise behind zoning and constructing affordable housing is higher density.
Different. That's different. Yes. And if they did that in my neighborhood, I wouldn't give a shit.
You're a good man, Marlon.
As long as it doesn't impact the Taylor household, I don't give a shit who lives in my neighborhood.
I'm telling you, it would impact your household.
No.
Okay, let me do this.
That's a Fox News talking point.
Do you want nuclear reactors next to you?
That's different.
No, it's the same goddamn.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Goddamn principle.
Affordable housing tenants are not
in my backyard.
Affordable housing tenants are not radioactive. They can't kill me with cancer.
Speaking of hills to die on, I'm going to let that one go because they are different. They
are very different. Now, what time is it? We've got 20 minutes or so left.
Are you okay over there?
No, I'm not okay.
About every 7 minutes, you're like,
white people, as much as I love them, are going to be the death of me. So I need to, for the, hopefully now 4 viewers, hopefully somebody joined, that we have watching this particular broadcast. I'm hoping of the 4, all 4 of them go, hey, I watched First World Third Rails today, and I want to evangelize something Marlon said to help the greater community. So this is my attempt to help the greater white community.
You frequently say things that help this white person. So yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm reaching out to every white person I know to try and help them right now. So put down the coffee, put down the pen, put down the mouse and the keyboard, listen to your host, Mayhem, aka Marlon, aka B Rating. Listen to me carefully. Okay, you ready, white people? Slavery is not good. Slavery is not good. Or get closer to the camera. Slavery is not
but you won't get me on that.
Slavery's not good for black people. Slavery was good for white people because they got free labor, so I won't argue that.
All right, so that was a calculus that they made that did the wrong moral thing, but it benefited them financially. That's the right and right I'm talking about.
No, even if it benefits you financially, it doesn't make it right.
White people in the South who had slaves, and
I get all that. I get all that. I get all that. I get all that. But it's not the right thing.
Right around and have tons of money made by slaves.
I get all that, JD. It's not the right thing.
We're agreed. It's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing to enslave another human being.
Yes.
Nobody can argue that.
Regardless of the outcome.
You can't argue that it was economically.
Of course it did. Of course it was, but it doesn't make it right. It does not make it right.
Well,
just
it's
because
still doing the wrong thing. We're basically using
no.
Human beings at the lowest possible.
Let me give you an example that a box of crayons can understand. You're going to work. You're commuting to work. You're late for work. Your boss has told you if you're late again, you're going to be in trouble. So what do? You speed to get to work. You break the law. It helped you get to work on time, but was it the right thing to do? No.
Yes.
Because you're breaking the law.
But you didn't get fired because you made it to work.
But you're breaking the law. These
are concepts that relate to interaction between a given individual and their environment. And there are places, many places, maybe
breaking the law.
Doing what is morally correct, if you're not committed to it, is problematic.
You're breaking the law. And for the MAGA,
you're only breaking the law.
For the low IQ MAGAs out there, even if this strays into the world of hypothetical.
Low IQ.
This strays into the realm of hypothetical, and you know how much I hate doing that. If
hypothetical is workable.
If for 1 second we were to entertain the reality and notion, regardless of the facts, that the election was stolen, you going into the Capitol breaks the law.
That appears to be universally factual, yes.
Same thing here. Same thing here.
They made a calculus. They made a calculus. They made a calculation, more precisely. That's better sentence structure. They made a calculation that if they could get the slate of electors from those 7 states into play, that they could freeze the process of naming Biden as the new president.
Well, they're going to have to appear.
And if they had succeeded, it would have been very different. Now, what's interesting is an early success would have been a more profound defeat for Trump. So if the Secret Service had allowed Trump to go to the Capitol, right, and Trump had led his minions up the stairs,
yep,
nobody would have intercepted the President of the United States as he walked down the corridors and into the congressional bullpen.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I do know that. That's the way.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
You know,
that's hypothetical. We can sit here and guess what would have happened, but we don't know.
I'm telling you that if Trump had done that, Biden would not have been named president,
No,
but Trump would now be in jail. In other words, it's because he didn't actually get to the Capitol, go up the stairs and break the law personally, in person. That's the only reason he's still out there free.
no.
It would have been a constitutional crisis.
Read
but
the
it would have worked itself out.
Read the indictment. He broke the law.
Oh, we're all agreed. We're all agreed. What I'm saying is that you were doing a hypothetical. I like the hypothetical. I agree with everything you're saying. And you can extend the hypothetical to Trump going up the stairs, down the corridor, into the bullpen.
I don't think he would have made it.
Standing there on the dais and saying, we have malfeasance. We have reason to believe that there have been voting irregularities, and we are resubmitting electors from this following 7 states. And he would have named off the 7 states. And Pence, based on Pence's past behavior in the presence of Trump, would have demurred or genuflected or basically changed his behavior, because Pence showed backbone, but he showed backbone with Trump out of the room. He never showed backbone with Trump in the room.
Agreed.
Trump probably would have been able to delay the process. Now, the important thing to remember, the important thing to remember is that all of the same forces, the Sergeant at Arms, General Milley, all of the military and law enforcement people that resolved this issue would still have been in place, and they still would have, they probably would have arrested Trump.
Which is why he never would have made the bullpen.
No, they would have arrested him after the fact.
No, he wouldn't. No, he would.
Christopher Wray would have arrested Christopher.
When the
FBI would have arrested.
He doesn't have the stones, but when he tries to breach the Capitol with his minions, he would have been arrested there.
I think Rosen would have probably supported arresting those.
But I don't want to go afield of my very important point here.
Well, it's a straightforward point.
Slavery was not good for Black people. So I hope, and I know we're in this
very good for white people.
We're in this truck now where we're trying to rewrite history.
Who's we? Who's we?
White people. White people.
Okay, this is
not all.
Okay. This is different than possessing prejudice. I say all white people possess prejudice, but even white people with prejudice,
I got to correct that.
Prejudice toward the sanctity of an individual's rights.
I got to correct that.
And trump other things.
I got to correct that. And if you were to say that on social media, you would get lambasted, because not all white people.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if I actually said some of these things on social media?
Not all white people possess prejudice. All people possess prejudice.
Okay, I'll change to your version.
All people do. And we know we do. And for those who go, "Oh, that's not true." Yeah, Go.
Yeah. Okay.
Go drive around the freeway. Come back and tell me if you don't have any prejudice.
Apparently, the most homophobic group on the surface of the planet is Black people.
Yeah.
Which is an example of prejudice. I'm not going anywhere with this.
It's an exact example of prejudice.
Single follow-on. I'm just establishing that what you say is true. All people have prejudice.
Yes. I know that to be true. But having said that, I know we're in this rewrite history.
By the way, I want to go on record with something, Marlon. In my experience, you are absolutely, positively not homophobic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you're doing kind of what I do sometimes. I'm like, well, I represent the white race, you represent the Black race, so each of us possesses some insights. And when we speak of them, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're in agreement with them. We're just saying these things exist and we've seen them with our own eyeballs.
Yes. That's a great summary of that. And yes, my people could be classified as the most homophobic of all the groups, because we've seen the history. We know that history. I know that history. I know reactions when back in the day someone came out gay. Now we live in a world now where, hey, I'm gay. Okay, what next? What do you what? Okay, what the hell else you got? So but this whole rewrite of
history, I interrupted,
of history with respect to slavery is the most asinine fucking thing I've ever seen. And to DL
suggest history will not be rewritten.
To DL Hughley's point, if it was so fucking good, white people,
why didn't you volunteer?
Why didn't you volunteer? Why didn't you
volunteer for the Peace Corps, right?
Right.
They volunteer for the Army, right?
Why weren't you in the field picking cotton and getting some of those?
Why don't they volunteer to be slaves? I mean,
trade crafts. Since it's such a trade craft development, why aren't you out there?
I really need to pick up a new skill. I'm going to go be a slave.
Right. Oh my God, man. I just
get a chance to push a wheelbarrow or shoe a horse that I wouldn't get otherwise.
I think our only hope is for the younger generation to keep doing what they're doing and for the older generation to just simply die off.
Well, the issue with the younger generation is that they are really, really, really disappointed and confused by the older generation. So
as they should be.
We're actually naming them our hope, even as we pollute them.
Yes.
So we're ruining their lives, ruining their futures, and we're saying, well, you're the hope. Let us continue doing what we're doing.
The hope resides in the fact that they understand science, they understand fact, because they're exposed to a lot. So they understand fact and science and truth.
Well, we're closing in on.
And the fact, science, and truth is that we are absolutely obliterating our planet.
All right. So if you want to do a third rail, I don't know if we can actually do it justice now. How long do you have before you have to go?
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to try to bring together a couple of things, connect a couple of dots. As a young person, I'm not pretending to be a young person. I'm just talking I'm talking about between 2030 and 2050. Okay.
Okay.
So
we might not make it to 2050.
We're 1.1 degrees centigrade in aggregate.
Yes. Science, which is science.
And 1.1 degrees centigrade is like 5 or 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So based on the way things are going, it's exponentially increasing. They're going to probably be well over 2.2, 2.3 by 2050.
If we make it to 2050.
Well, we're going to make it. We're all going to be here, but we're going to be.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
All right. So between 2030.
Do you believe with respect to climate, if we passed zero barrier, our government would tell us?
Well, we've already passed it.
Right. I think we have.
Knows. I think everybody knows.
No, because deniers don't know.
Listen, people who live in Arizona and Phoenix and just had.
I'm glad you mentioned Arizona.
Consecutive days above 110. They're like, well, there's something different around here. Oh, in Phoenix, going back to Phoenix is like, well, we're going to wipe 83,000 building permits off the books because there's not enough water.
Yep.
The aquifer, basically where the water has soaked in, if you want to return that to where it was at 1900, you'd have to go another 6,000 years.
Yes.
So you'd have to get everybody off of it. There's not a single fucking human being on North American continent.
No.
And then wait 6 millennia, and your water table should be
back close to what it was. Yes.
Where it was, yeah. So they are absolutely fucked. And if a person is like, if somebody's like, can you explain this? You're like, no, I can't. Is it happening? Yes, it is. So they're in it now. And between 2030 and 2050, the reason I'm doing 2030 instead of from 2023 to 2030, AI, here's what I predict is going to happen.
Okay.
And it's actually very, very sad because my kids are going into this. AI is between 2023 and 2030 is going to basically knock about 30% of activity, because the activity is what you get paid for in some form or another. So you're going to have a 30% systemic reduction of activity
in the workforce.
Now, to produce the same level of outputs, corporations are going to have to spend, they're not going to have to spend as much. So corporations won't immediately lose the gap between profits, between cost and services. They'll actually be able to increase the profitability. Right about 2030, AI is going to flip over, and it's going to go from 30 probably to, it's going to eclipse 50%, because at that point you're going to have actual physical activities that are going to be replaced using robotics. And the robotics won't be humanoid robotics all the time. They'll be a very good example is what you see in an Amazon warehouse. And robotics, it doesn't have to be human to rob an activity. And you've seen cantilevered arms, and Google, working with DeepMind and their new model, they have focused not almost exclusively, but they've really, really focused on robotics.
Yep.
And artificial general intelligence with robotics.
Yep.
So at that point, activities are going to just start flushing out. And what's an example of an activity? Well, there is some level of effort today to get a financial transaction from the Starbucks all the way through to the ass end. There are some tellers in there. There's some people taking deposits. There's some people reconciling things, et cetera, et cetera. So almost all financial transactions are going to be entirely automated. So we have the world's largest federal credit union right up the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in a building very similar to the Apple building. It is huge. It's not actually round, but it's a semicircle. And when you go in, it's like it was designed to resemble a ship, Navy Federal Credit Union. It's designed to resemble a ship. So you walk into it and it just goes right up to the apex at the center. And it's absolutely magnificent.
Right.
When you walk those halls today, you probably run into 20 people. But the building could accommodate probably 14,000 people. There just aren't that many people. By 2030, buildings like that one, which they will have paid for, they will own it outright. They have so much money, it doesn't fucking matter. They won't need to get it off the books. Will be like maybe a guy at the door, and that'll probably be fucking it. And there'll be a couple of people right at the top floor, and they will just be responsible for
figureheads.
So all of this activity is going to fall out, and there's going to come a point where, as the activity falls out, the cost of existence and the revenue, because the revenue is going to drop. There are going to be fewer people with disposable income. So corporations that are on the margins that aren't dominant are going to just shutter. They're just going to go away because there won't be any use for them. And you're going to have this ripple effect where companies that are on the margin are going to just go away, and you're going to end up with exactly what you see in Blade Runner. You're going to have monolithic
Corel Corporation
corporations. It's absolutely inevitable.
That's already been happening.
Yes, the funds.
That's already been happening. That's already been.
It's all happening. So in that world, and childbearing is going to go down. In that world, it is actually going to be very interesting. There's a possibility that with a universal basic income, that people's daily lives could actually be quite enjoyable. In other words, there's no compelling reason to do a thing if it's being done. I mean, you have a moral directive to do something if it's not being done. But if it's being done, that's okay. I mean, it's called the singularity, where humanity starts to approach this synthesis between their humanity and systems and machines. So if we're actually able to produce results, produce food, produce energy using machines, technically, that's not immoral. What will be immoral is if people are obligated to still pay for food and pay for electricity, but the costs of producing it are almost infinitesimal, and none of that profit is redistributed in the form of a universal basic income. So that's why I think politics is so important, because it is demonstrated that Republicans they represent essentially a selfish, highly competitive, selfish, and greedy, and in some cases evil idea, which basically started with Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was the one who said greed is good, and she kind of kicked off this, the shareholder is king, anything for profit, you have to grow every quarter. All of these things are fairly recent. They're not manifestations of the human spirit, because it always exists. Greed is all
manifestations of the Republican spirit.
In our laws, it's baked into the way we conduct our affairs. Everything about what we're doing right now protects an individual, or increasingly a corporation's, right to do what's necessary to satisfy their shareholders and make money. So if we have politicians who are aligned with the corporations, it's going to be very unpleasant. That's why I think Democrats need to really get on this thing, and people of color and disadvantaged people who don't normally vote, they need to vote, because when this thing starts to turn in 2030, you're going to need to put politicians in who believe in a basic income.
It will be interesting to see and track that prediction. And I'm not pushing back on that prediction, because it is a distinct possibility. So I acknowledge that and I accept that. Having said all that, we're not going to make it to 2050
Well, sadly,
if we
humans are like cockroaches.
If we don't understand what we are doing and have been doing and are going to do going forward, we're not going to make 2050.
We're going to make 2050, but not all of us. Anybody who's in a wet bulb environment where they
when is the last time in the continental 48 we've experienced a water temperature over 100 degrees?
Now.
Exactly. You know what else you brought up Arizona.
Not everybody goes away. A lot of people are going to die, on the order of billions.
Yes.
And the billions that don't die are going to be killed.
We don't know that there will be billions
trying to get away from the water.
We don't know that there will be billions that don't die, because we don't know the severity of what we are doing.
I think it's pretty clear billions are going to die.
We can hypothesize, but we don't actually know. What we do know is that if we don't reverse our behavior.
Okay, we won't reverse a goddamn thing. We're going to have climate change. It's going to go up to close to 3 degrees centigrade, and big chunks of the world.
Unless we get everybody.
To date, there has been no undertaking that humanity has done the right thing in advance of the damage.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, we need to get to
that's not true.
Where billions are dying and the damage is incalculable.
No. That's not true.
Let me give you an example.
There are
people. Let me
give
you an example. This is a parallel.
But you gotta. That's an incorrect, unfactual statement you just made. There are people who are leading efforts to reverse or at least slow down what we are doing. There are green initiatives all over the place.
All right. If you
I
look
live in a state. I live in a
big
state.
chunk of them are doomed to failure. That's the, you talked about it. Would the government tell us if we cross the threshold? And I don't know the answer, but I can tell you that they won't tell us that it is absolutely, utterly impossible to have a green revolution. It's not possible.
Why?
Okay.
Everything is possible.
The first casualty in the green revolution, and it'll take probably another 5 to 7 years for it to be crystal clear, is going to be wind power.
Why?
Wind power is not working.
What makes you say that?
I
don't know. I'm asking.
Frenetic pace. Now they may be able to improve the technology, but
is solar energy working?
It is dramatically more expensive now to.
Is solar energy working?
Wind farm. No, I'm doing wind farms. Wind farms are the first casualty the moment you come out of governmental concessions and credits. The only way that those giant wind farms can be built is if the government is giving a credit. Wind farms cannot compete with either fossil or solar.
We need to get off fossil. We need to get off fossil. So I don't look at competition against fossil. We need to get off of that, or else we're not going to have a 2050.
We're not going to get off of it following the path that we're on. In other words, we're on a losing path. And I'm going to use one word to
that. We know that.
The only possible energy source that is independent of thermal, independent of tide, independent of solar, and independent of wind is nuclear.
Is nuclear.
Right. And in the US right now, nuclear ain't happening. Do you know why? Because the US has the most identifiable fossil fuel reserves.
Yes.
That applies not only to oil, but it also applies to natural gas.
Yes.
That's why we're not going to hit any of our targets. Because
no, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that.
You're welcome to not accept it. Feel free.
Because we know the result of not hitting those targets.
You're out of your mind. The idea that people know the result of not hitting it and then they would change their behavior. You won't even go get your blood pressure and you know it's going to kill you. So that's what I'm saying. There is nothing about the human animal that allows them en masse as a group to actually avoid the problem.
Disagree.
We will resolve the problem after the damage has been done.
Disagree. Complete disagreement with that.
You have nothing.
And yes, I do have evidence.
All right.
Simple question, yes or no. Has in the last 5 years, the adoption of EV vehicles grown or decreased?
It has grown and it's going to hit a wall.
And that's it. I didn't ask you about a wall. I just asked you if it grew or decreased.
It's not sufficient to offset the trillions of cars.
It's new. It's new.
There are a million EVs, but
it's new.
Millions of vehicles.
It's new. It's new. It's fairly new. So it's unfair to say, well, it's not having an impact.
You are completely missing the point.
No, I'm not.
Unless we get, okay, the way that a cathode works in a battery.
Don't make me rewind the tape. You just said human behavior will not allow us.
Right, and I'm saying
words.
These won't save us in any way, shape, or form because those batteries that we build with lithium, the cathode crystallizes. We do not have the technology to actually replace. And we don't have the metals, we don't have the capability to replace all of the fossil fuel vehicles. Notwithstanding 30% of it comes from meat production, notwithstanding 10% comes from interstate shipping, intercontinental shipping.
You, my friend, were talking about human behavior and decision.
Right.
And I just gave you an example. And
that they talk about at Davos during.
I just gave you an example of human behavior that says, in my effort to help reduce greenhouse emissions, I'm now owning and driving an EV. That's an example.
Are you owning and driving an EV?
I'm not driving anything.
You have
my car hasn't started for 4 years. That's my help to the greenhouse emissions. My car hasn't started in 4 years.
You don't have an electric vehicle?
No.
My son went out and aggressively tried to purchase an electric vehicle, but they are so fucking few and so far between.
And that will change.
Every time one became available, somebody
will change.
Pay for it.
That will change. That will change.
But it's not going to change in time to stop the relentless advance of the temperature.
That's on us. That's on us because that's on us because it could change in time.
But it won't.
That's on us.
It could, but it won't. There's no evidence that humanity will do it. And especially because wealthy nations control most.
I just gave you an example of evidence. EVs.
I showed you an example. EVs. So EVs are there. What
do you recycle? Do you recycle?
Oh God, my wife recycles like hell will have no more.
That's another example.
She recycles cardboard. Have you done any reading on recycling? Do you understand what's going on with recycling?
Look, recycling
is a marketing ploy. The only thing that can be properly recycled is glass and aluminum. And I will say, to our neighborhood's benefit, we actually have giant, I mean huge trailer truck size glass drop-offs. And my wife religiously goes every other week and takes all of our glass and she drops that off. Glass can be recycled. Plastic recycling is an absolute fucking joke. It's
how far
there is no plastic recycling.
Okay, fine, make that argument. But we were talking about human behavior.
Yeah, and you're saying, okay, so I guess we're flipping. We have periods where I'm up, you're down. In this case, I have absolutely no faith in human behavior until the damn.
Are humans recycle? Is your wife taking the glass to the recycle center?
Yeah, but she's just one of 10.
That's an example. That's an example. Whether she's one or
it doesn't change the art. It doesn't change what needs to happen. That has to happen at the institutional level.
She's not the only person doing this.
We're not having an argument right now.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
My opinion is that it won't be enough. That's all.
And I'm telling you that I have faith in humanity that we can get enough people to change the arc doing the right thing. There are more people out there like your wife and me. You know how far I have to go to recycle? My garage. In the state of Washington, we have recycle pickup along with trash.
Oh, we recycle plastic and cardboard with our trash, yes, but she takes the glass to the glass recycling.
How do you recycle cardboard with your trash? You mean separately?
Separately, yeah.
Okay.
So there are 3 items that get recycled, but the glass is a trip. The town said, we're not going to pick up glass anymore. You need to take it here. But they
that's an example of not contributing to changing the arc. The state of Washington.
Fair enough.
The state of Washington.
Listen, we've already established the state of Washington is superior. We've established that.
Yes, yes. Now, I can be accused of pot being kettle because I still use a gas-powered lawnmower and I still use a gas-powered car. So yeah, I'm pot calling the kettle black. And
you know what? You know what kind of lawnmower I use? I use a little push reel lawnmower, all manual, baby.
All manual.
I don't have a gas lawnmower.
I do. It's ancient, so it's probably emitting even 10 times the amount of carbon.
I absolutely love the.
I do have an electric weed whacker, though.
We have an electric weed whacker, and I have a grass one, excuse me. I do have a gas weed whacker that I have to break out to go do the perimeter of the fence.
The only thing I have gas powered is the lawnmower. And when it dies, I will go buy electric. I won't buy battery because battery that has impact, to your point, right? With EVs. So I won't buy battery operated. It's really weird. When I don't go to Home Depot, but I had to go to Home Depot, and it killed me to walk in those stores, and we all know why. But while I was there, I got to get a weed whacker because my weeds were out of control, and they were under lock and key.
Yeah.
They were under lock and key. I'm like, dude, what are you telling me that people now, granted, the Home Depot I was in is meth central, and it's surrounded by meth heads. So I'm like, are you telling me that you've got to lock these up? Because people, not only did they have to lock him up, he literally had, with my selection of one, he had to walk me to the front to the register.
Yeah, people are stealing shit.
I was raised differently, man.
Well, you know what? On that note, I think we're hitting up to an hour.
I was just raised differently. Thank God. I was just raised differently. God bless my parents. Shout out to my parents. God bless them.
I think you should take us out on the Home Depot guy walking you to the front with your weed whacker.
Jesus Christ, man. Woo! And again, it's the meth central Home Depot. This is one of the largest Home Depots in this region. And it is, they now have a gate fence around the parking lot because of the meth community.
Well, maybe we'll talk about Portland or Spokane. Actually, Portland is really the sad story.
From the environmental beautification of Mount Rainier over my shoulder in the state of Washington.
Move so I can look. Okay, I see it there.
Now, I won't have to worry about 2050 if that volcano doesn't stay dormant.
Well, the volcano that'll get you is the one that's over under Yellowstone.
No. The one behind me is the one.
That's true. You're on the Ring of Fire, aren't you?
I am in the Ring of Fire. And that's a topic for another, because I've been through in the 29 years I've been here, I've been through 2 earthquakes. The first one, I didn't even know it was an earthquake. I hadn't been out here but maybe a year. And I'm like, what the hell was that? I walked out, I still had the TV remote in my hand. I'm like, what the hell? What was that? The second one, and most here in this region know it as the 1995 Nisqually quake. That, I hope I never live through anything like that ever again.
Stuff moving around.
I've never seen the earth do what I saw the earth do that day. But we live in the Ring of Fire, right over my shoulder, stay dormant. So, we'll see.
That's why I'm up here. I'm up here in space.
In space. I need to join you. To all who are celebrating, on behalf of JD and Marlon today, all who are celebrating, happy Re-Indictment Day.
Amen. Hey, we didn't talk about it. Well, we talked a little bit about it.
About what?
We didn't really get into that. Isn't that good?
I'm trying to keep
at the top, and now I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. But
I'm trying to keep my blood pressure as high as it is right now, and that would make it spike, because as I've said, and you've heard me say a multitude of times, anyone else on the planet would be behind bars right now.
We're mutually agreed.
Anyone else.
We're totally agreed.
And that includes white people. Any other white person on the planet would be behind bars right now. So
Colin Kaepernick, he would not be behind bars.
He would not be behind bars. Oh, God. My friend, hey, we're on tomorrow. We're an hour later tomorrow. Just
okay.
Housekeeping note. We're on at 10 a.m., 1 p.m.
I'm already pink. I made myself pinker.
Hopefully I won't have to revisit, but if I do, slavery was not good for Black people.
Yeah.
Well, apparently there's some.
Qualify as the third rail in some respects because it's, you know what? That is an ignorant statement that slavery
It
was.
It is.
I'm going to give you ignorance on that one. That is just, that's like, oh, Jesus H. Fuck.
I can't even believe we're having this discussion.
Well, let's not have it now, but let's have it tomorrow.
We'll have it tomorrow. We're back on Twitter.
My eyeballs itch.
We're back on Twitter. We're on Spoutable, YouTube, First World, Third Rails. Find us, love us, hate us, comment us. Please, please, please subscribe to us.
All right, bud.
Been my pleasure, brother.
It's a good one.
Catch you on the flip.
Bye.